Hey everybody, your pal Donnie Dow here. Today I am on Evansville's east side in a tiny little area called the Charles Boeke Subdivision. It's not really much of a subdivision. It's really just one street, Alvord Boulevard, North Alvord Boulevard. So Boeke, obviously there's Boeke Avenue, and the Boeke family had a large dairy farm, very large dairy farm, just north of Morgan Avenue, and covered this whole area. In fact, those of you who have lived here a long time may remember the old farmhouse at Green River in Morgan. That belonged to the Bakes as well. And Charles Boeke, one of the Charles Bakes, was a city council person, and whenever the city went to annex that area, because even up until the 50s, this was outside of the city limits. Charles Boeke actually fought it at first, and then realized what kind of a gold mine he was sitting on. He then he withdrew his protest. There's an interesting story too about how he thought that there would be an overpass, and there was going to be an overpass that would connect Diamond Avenue to close to where the Thorntons is now on Morgan and Boeke. But at any rate, his sister Matilda Boeke has a little section of about 20 houses just north of Vogel on Tennessee Street. So this was all their farmland, their dairy farmland. A lot of these houses are built in the early 50s. Real quick, I'll show you this really interesting one over here. This is kind of atypical for the area. And it looks to me like there was just a lot of additions done over the years, which kind of changed the character of that house. But at any rate, so like I said, most of these homes were built in the early 50s. Interestingly, where North Alvord meets Vogel, a lot of the homes there along Vogel were actually built in the 30s. So Vogel already existed, but the remainder of this area really didn't. It was farmland still at that time too. There's a house coming up here in just a moment that has multicolored brick, and it was the first house built here on Alvord. So really interesting. Most of the homes are brick or stone, although there's plenty that are aluminum or vinyl sided as well. The lots are all different sizes. Many of them are pretty big. And this area is well maintained. It's affordable. It's close to everything. It's funny that it is now considered East Side because, this is the original here, because at one point it was north of the city and considered the North Side. But at any rate, you can see a lot of the typical 50s style of homes here. Going to turn around real quick because there's a house of particular interest that I think you guys might like to see. It's coming up here in just a minute. Market's been very strong. Many new listings, many homes have sold. Real quick, while I'm thinking about a little interesting tidbit. So I talked a minute ago about this overpass that was going to be built, and there's a sharp curve from Diamond to Weinbach or Weinbach to Diamond, and the reason that exists is because that road was actually going to be a whole lot longer, and the state decided to pull back funding on it, and so they just made it sharply curve and connect with Weinbach instead of continuing on over the Pigeon Creek. So the reason that I wanted to come down this street today was to show you this beautiful new listing here, listed by me. It's 1009 North Alvord, It's a beautiful home, very well maintained. Brand new carpet in the waterproofed basement, brand new full bath. Roof's only 6 years old. The lot goes back about 240 feet. It's a pretty long lot. So at any rate, this one will probably sell pretty quickly. So if you're interested in buying or selling, please contact me. Once you deal with Donnie, you'll see the difference is Donnie. Thanks. See ya.